Hi everyone! So the PTR has finally been updated, the patch just dropped earlier and I've been trying it out for a few hours. There has been quite some changes. So the Crusader has been hit by the nerf bat quite a bit, but it's actually not too terrible. So it's still one of the really good builds in the game. Probably competing with Valor in solo pushing. And well, it's out of the group meta for sure though. There's going to be other builds that are going to be quite good. And well, we have the Twister Wizard. So this one got a big change and it's very similar to something that I also suggested, which is you can stack twisters now in the same spot and you can make them bigger and bigger. So they made it so that the Twisted Sword now has these 5 stacks of extra damage, and then it has the Raging Storm effect where you can merge 4 twisters into one. So the way this looks like is just like this, it becomes bigger, and then it becomes more and more, and then you can kind of like do another stack here next to it, and then this becomes 4 again, and so you can like overlap them a bit and you do lots of damage. So this is really nice because you can actually play the build now with yeah, just some actual like damage where you want it, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. So for the other changes, they also touched some of the other things. For example, the Bone Spear got nerfed a little bit. So this is not really such a huge deal. From 500% to 400% bonus, that's like a 90% loss. Nothing crazy, it's like a bit more than a tier. So still like a top build in the end. And well, quite excited to play this no matter what. Gonna be a bit harder to do 150 solo, but it's gonna be fine. So then we have the Twisted Sword, as I mentioned. So you have seen it here. And well, apparently there's still some lag with this going on. So I didn't try it myself in format, I tried it in solo. In solo it works pretty well. I went into 125 and I'm gonna upload that separately just for you to see like the whole gameplay and the run. But in the end it was pretty good damage there with my rather low end setup here, and I was not even trying super hard. I was not playing it super well. There's definitely a lot of like tweaks, and especially gameplay wise with the timings, with your positioning that you can do. So I believe this is actually going to be a very strong build. Not sure if it's just straight up going to beat the Hydra, and Hydra is going to go close to 150 solo too. So we have the Twister being quite competitive, at least in solo. For 4-man it seems laggy still, at least from what I've heard. Apparently Rex was trying it out and well, they were lagging, so maybe some fixes have to be done still. Then there's the Thorns of the Invoker. So this is the big nerf here for Crusader. So it looks terrible, but it's actually not super crazy. So the 2-piece bonus Invoker goes down from 350 to 90%, and it is capped at 10 stacks. So realistically, in like, let's say a good rift, you can maybe count with something like 20 stacks average. So now we have 10, so this is halved, and then we have 90%, which is kind of like a quarter. So it's half and a quarter, which is like 1/8 or so. So that means around like a 10, 11, 12 tier nerf. 12 tier like best case scenario, imagine like 25 stacks all the time. And realistically, for most people, I guess this will be a nerf of between 9 to 11 tiers, or let's say around 10. So well, Crusader high end is gonna be around tier 160, 161 or so before the nerf. So now it's still like a 150 build. So everyone who says, oh, Crusader is dead now, well, that's not true. And the thing is, it got much easier to play with the 10 stacks, because especially for like more casual players, or especially for speed farming, especially for killing bosses where you can't block a lot, you have low stacks. And you don't really have to care too much about your bombardment timing. Overall, the build is going to feel more smooth, but obviously it's not going to blast everything out of existence as it did before. So you still have to try a bit to go to like 140 plus, but it's not the end of the world. And as I said, it's going to be one of the top builds, competing with the Valor Crusader, and Valor Crusader is probably doing 150 solo or close to at least next season, and so will Thorns Invoker. So it's definitely in, let's say, the top 5 or so of the builds, probably still, with 2 Crusader builds being there. Then we have Manajuma, the chicken. Yeah, that's got like a slight buff, so you spawn like a chicken that does 25% of the damage. It feels extremely weak. I tried this in D16, it's kind of like before. I don't really notice these chickens very much. They can explode and start a chain reaction if they kill some super small stuff, but in the end you're not really doing a lot of damage. and you don't really want to spend a lot of time in the chicken form anyway. You just want to, you know, go out, blast stuff, and then have a lot of cooldown reduction and get Grave Injustice procs, go back in. You never really see those chickens. So this seems kind of pointless. And for really low-end content, when you're really overkilling stuff, this is okay, I guess. It helps you a bit. You can play chicken if you like to, but Mundunuko is just gonna, you know, straight up beat it anyway. Then we have the zombie bears. I couldn't test this because this item doesn't exist yet. So more bears and a bit more damage. I don't know, from what I can tell, this would probably put it into somewhere of the like GR 130 range. So yeah, not terrible, not really great, but you can push it, you know, a bit higher now. But we have to see this in practice. So apparently they go further and they do more damage and they have more bears. We don't know exactly how many bears. It could be anywhere between like a I don't know, I guess 8 to 15 tier buff. And if it's on the higher end, then you can, you know, expect something like 135 plus, I guess, with this build, which is, you know, you can play more zombie bears, I guess. Uliana's got a really nice damage reduction buff, so that before it had 0, and now we have 77% reduction. This is nuts. So this is like a Band of Might for free, or Halo of Karini. This is gonna make you invincible with Uliana. It needed some more damage as well, but okay, it's fine to just have this, and maybe you can take like some more offensive options. I haven't really looked into it yet, but Uliana already was like 135 or so, I'd say, and maybe just boosted by like 2-3 tiers or so, depending on what other options you can take instead. You know, something like Captain Crimson might be an idea, or I don't know, some other stuff. Blade of the Tribes, this is quite interesting. So Deep Quake got another buff of this, not very much, just looking at the regular build. It's something like a 1 to 2 tier buff. I believe it needed something like a 7 tier buff or so to be competitive with Whirlwind. But you have a legendary affix now and not this primary affix roll on the weapon anymore. Well, right now on the PTR it's actually bugged and it's still showing on the weapon. I'm not sure if it's actually active. But they increased the legendary affix to 800% or 900% bonus, I believe. So this is very nice and a lot of damage. So you can do like hybrid builds between Avalanche and Earthquake now, because it applies to both. And I also tried like some, at least theory crafted some interesting build here with Istvan's Blade, because you can just cube the weapon now. And this doesn't have the Ludstock, so you're not leaping around very much. You're more like a bit more stationary with Ender's Walk, and you have Obsidian Ring to reset your cooldowns. I believe this could be an interesting setup. I'm not sure if it's going to be better, but you have like 3 setups, one with just a regular Earthquake, one with Avalanche, one with the Istvan and Standing Still, and this could be really interesting and maybe optimized more, but it's something that I made earlier here. Yeah, and that's about it. They fixed like a few of the legacy stacking items. They fixed some of the Necromancer pets. I haven't seen yet if the rats are still bugged. So there was a bug with the Tragul Scythe where it was only applying around 70% damage bonus to pets on Necromancer instead of 200%. We'll see. But if that's, I guess that will be fixed for live servers anyway. So yeah, right now I would say, if you're wondering about the meta, maybe Crusader is still very good, but mostly a solo build now with the Thorns. And the rest doesn't really change the meta. So, you know, the chicken is not really great, Zombie Bear is not really great, Uliana is not really great, Leap Quake is not really great. So all the old meta builds like Whirlwind, Mundunugu, and Tempest Rush, they're gonna stay the meta. I believe Twisted Sword, like this change is huge for Wizard, so the Wizard is gonna be quite good if they never touch this again. And there's gonna be you know, a lot of stuff to discover on this. Already I've seen that you can like do these multiple camps of Twisters, which is gonna be quite important, I believe, if they don't touch this anymore. So yeah, there's that. Bone Spear obviously is still really good. And as far as the Foreman meta is concerned, XP meta probably gonna stay in Rats, because they didn't get changed at all. It was the best. The next alternative, which was Bone Spear, got nerfed a tiny bit. So yeah, Rat's gonna stay the best for XP, and then for the high tiers it's gonna be either Witch Doctor or Bone Spear or Scythe or Corpse Explosion. And all of these builds are probably gonna be quite good for 150. Hard to say which is the best right now. I believe it's gonna be Bone Spear early on and Witch Doctor later on, and well, we'll see. So there's that. And obviously the Rift Guardian Killer is gonna be Crusader with Valor, which is just gonna blast the bosses. Yeah. So hope you enjoyed my thoughts here, and well, I'm gonna be testing more stuff on the PTR, at least until the weekend. And then we'll see when it goes down. Maybe I can do some more like in-depth testing of certain mechanics. This shadow clones got changed apparently as well, for example, but I don't know, like, you know, we have no information about this, so we need to get that from many people. So yeah, if you have anything to say about, you know, how you feel about the changes, how you feel about the shadow clones, something like that. I just saw like 1 or 2 shadow clones on GR 125 that didn't really seem too impressive. So maybe it's just a wizard thing, but they were doing a bit of work there, so there's that. Yeah, hope you enjoyed my thoughts here. I'll see you guys next time.